Hi, does that sound a bit strange? Lovely to see everybody. As you can see, I have my aircraft headphones on this morning because there's something wrong with my sound on the computer. So I'm not too sure whether or not you could even hear that our intro music. Today, I'm going to have a quick chat to James Murphy about audio. Because The Dark Room is now out in audio and he is reading it. And we have some other interesting things to talk to you about as well that James is working on. So I'm just going to bring him into the stream now, having forgotten to introduce myself. Here he is. There he is. Hi, James. How are you?
Hi, Sam. How are you? Good. Do you want me to introduce you?
I tell you, I'm so good at this. So obviously people are on my page, so you know I'm Sam Blake, author of The Dark Room. She says reaching for it. It's disappeared. And we're going to talk a little bit about The Dark Room, and then we're going to talk about you, James, and your books and some other bits and pieces. So how are you getting on with the audio? Tell me about it.
Right. Well, audio, I have to say, first and foremost, I'm loving it. Loving the book, loving the new way of consuming text and literature as well. Was it something I got used to straight away? No, absolutely not.
Because you're not an audio. You're not really an audio. This is your first audio book, is it? Or
this is my, well, technically my second. I started another one. I know I've been saying to you before that I'm keeping The Dark Room to be my first one, and this is going to be it. But then there was a wee bit of a delay, and I thought, well, can't wait any longer. So I started. The 30 Murder Club. But as soon as Dark Room became available, I stopped. But the 30 Murder Club I found really difficult from the point of view of audio, because it was new to me, but also because obviously we know it was written by Richard Osman. In my head, it should have been a male narrator, possibly him. But when I started to listen, I was going to say started to read, but when I started to listen, it was a female narrator with an accent that couldn't be further removed from what I would expect to have been hearing. So I just found it quite difficult, and it's a really good book from what I've read so far. But I just thought I'm going to have to stop because that's not working.
Yeah.
I'm just going to buy the book and read the book.
Yeah.
So that led me, obviously your book was released and I knew that I told you, and I thought, I hope this works. So thankfully it did. Although I was a little bit jarred because when I'm reading a book from an author that I know, and I'm sure you're probably the same.
You can hear my voice from
it. So when it first came on and it wasn't your voice, it was a wee bit disconcerting. I knew it wasn't going to be your voice, but still, you know, when you hear it. But that kind of lasted, I think, sort of prologue, early chapters. I kind of thought, okay, this is getting a little. But then I got straight into it, and actually, the story's been fantastic. But also, as I said, just consuming your reading, if you want to call it that, in a different way is, for me, I think it's going to be a game changer in terms of the amount of books I managed to consume in a year.
Yeah, that's brilliant. It's really interesting there that how important the narrator is, because like literally you were thrown out of it completely with the first book that you tried. And Aoife McMahon is a lady who reads The Dark Room, and she's a fantastic Irish audio narrator. So obviously you have a slight advantage because you know me, so you're used to hearing me talk. But most readers wouldn't obviously know me and would have that. So her Irish accent is quite good there. But it's really interesting to hear that and see. I think the audio narrator brings such a lot to the story. Far more than I can. I suppose it's like bringing an actor into the process, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, actually saying that, just kind of picking up on the whole accent thing, when I was younger, we holidayed around Cork quite a bit. And the accent was something that I hadn't heard in quite a long time. But as soon as I heard it, it in itself almost had like a supernatural quality, because it just kind of transported me back, like, you know, whatever, 15, 20 years.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Wow.
That's great. Oh, it's good. It's good to hear. It's lovely. You're so right about the consumption, though, I think, because I saw, actually, it was Sarah Griffin who was tweeting the other day to say that she needed to walk in lockdown, and she was finding it really hard to concentrate on reading. And I think for a lot of people who are having, I mean, you're just very busy because you are teacher, you're homeschooling, you're obviously writing your own books as well. So I can imagine your time in terms of reading, by the time, if it's at night when you're reading, if you're anything like me, you hit the bed and you're falling asleep before you open the book. So therefore audio could be really useful for you, in the same way that it is for Sarah. She was saying it was very relaxing for her to be able to listen to the audiobook and do the walk at the same time. So you're literally finding it as a whole new world.
Yeah, and this is going to sound a bit bizarre because I know I'm probably not that old in comparison to whatever, but I'm actually finding now that people say after you get into your 40s you need glasses and all that sort of stuff. Well, I always had. So, so I kind of thinking I am still getting it now when, you hear people saying, oh, well, I have to hold the book like really far away so I can read. And so I'm getting all that and thinking, and yeah, the weight of the book is starting to hurt your hands after a while. But maybe I'm just growing old too early. I don't know. So, but so audiobooks then for me is a kind of an extra. That you're not having that. I mean, if you think from a teaching point of view, I'm either head down all day in a book or head at the moment face at a screen. So your neck tends to get quite strained, the muscles and so on. So then when you try to read a book, it's not that long before your eyes get tired, migraine starts, all that sort of stuff. So I was struggling to read as much as I wanted to. So with audiobooks now, it's a game changer essentially for me.
Yeah, that's great to hear, isn't it? It's brilliant. It's lovely to be able to find a new way to access the material, isn't it? I think that's the key.
Yeah. And now I feel really old and probably shouldn't have said that, but that doesn't matter.
The kids are probably watching this going, "Oh my god!" But so James, you're a crime writer yourself, and so obviously you're listening to it. It's actually very interesting, I think, listening to something as opposed to reading it, because it's a different. I think when we're writing, you've been running a crime writing course for a long time, and when we listen, I'm sure you talk to students about this, but when we listen to our work, it's a completely different experience from reading on the page. And I think from your point of view, consuming the darkroom, it's different. It's like a different angle on the whole story. Comes to life differently. Are you finding that? Does it come to life differently when you're listening?
It does. I think you do become a little bit more immersed in it because it's hard. It's quite hard to explain actually, because I know when you're reading, you become immersed as well. But I think when you're listening, it's the fact that other distractions are cancelled. Certainly from hearing, your other distractions are cancelled out, so you tend to become that wee bit more immersed. So things that would distract you from reading wouldn't necessarily distract you from listening, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So if, for example, if my 8-year-old was busy doing something in the same room as myself when I'm reading, I would frequently find myself reading the same page maybe 4 or 5 times. Whereas with this, she could be doing whatever. You could still be interacting as and when, but it's not actually affecting your consumption in any way. That sounded really selfish, but you know what I mean.
That's good though. It's very interesting, these different medium, isn't it, and the way different people consume story. So that's I think it's fascinating, and it's lovely for me to hear how you're getting on with the book, because it literally is a different way of doing it. But as I say, you've been writing, and you've been. I'm going to pop your book into the comments now, just this moment, so anybody can see it now. I can pop up there shortly. There we go. Dark Light is your latest one. Have I got the right one?
Yep, that's right.
Which is the latest book, which is the third of a trilogy. So you're a crime writer too, and you run a crime writing course, but you're developing that crime writing course into a podcast, because audio really is the way to go, isn't it? I think. And
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So you're not so squashed. There we go. But it's really, I think it's just really interesting to take that interest in what you're doing and building that platform and moving into the audio world, because, as you say, different ways of consuming content, and I think podcast is just huge, isn't it? So tell us a little bit about A Life of Crime Writing, such a cool title.
Right. Well, A Life of Crime Writing started off with basically present and person classes, because I wanted to develop my craft. And like probably most self-respecting crime writers, I suffered from imposter syndrome. So I thought, right, there's only one way I can prove to myself that I can do this, and that's to use the experience that I had from my past, from my career, to actually go and teach other people to do it as well. So we started the present in person classes. They were a huge success. And then, people were kind of coming back. I was doing maybe 8-week blocks, and I was finding the same people were coming back because they thought, well, I got hooked the first time. I have half a manuscript. I need you to kind of help me get to the end of it now. So that was fantastic, and I really enjoyed, kind of bringing new people along. And then the pandemic hit, of course, and I thought, well, what am I going to do now? And there was still a need because, in the present in person groups, we set up support like WhatsApp groups and all that kind of stuff. So there was still a need being demonstrated that was there, and I thought, what am I going to do? So I approached the Arts Council of Northern Ireland, and they very supportively and kindly said, okay, we'll fund you, take it online. And that, again, that was a huge step because I was able to continue to support the people I already had, that kind of various cohorts, but also because it was online, it was open to a much larger potential audience. So suddenly it wasn't just, people from the local area or the Northern Ireland area. Suddenly you were kind of looking at, developing someone who was, writing in an apartment in New York, or, I had someone from Canada who was in like minus 26 degrees or something like that. And you're thinking, wow,
that's wonderful, isn't it? I think it gives, that's one thing about going online is the accessibility. I mean, it's just incredible.
And again, it was giving me lots of different perspectives as well. So to me, it was about developing the writers, but also developing myself and learning as well. So I've learned so much from them too. So that has happened, and that was continuing. But with as long as the pandemic is going, I think people are starting to get a bit zoomed out. There's the whole. So I thought, okay, the need is still there. So it was just a case of, right, I need to diversify again. What am I going to do now? And I thought, well, in my time developing myself as a crime writer, I've developed quite a significant circle of friends who are all fantastic writers. So let's just sit them down, have a chat, and see what people can learn from them as well as me.
Yeah.
So that's where it came, and as you say, podcasting is a thing now where it's growing as a medium, if you like, and it's something that I myself have got into over the last couple of years, and I thought it's helping people with their writing, but it's also quite relaxing because I know you and I have done one recently, and it was a nice chat, and I think we both kind of came off it thinking that was just a nice chat.
That was lovely, yeah.
I kind of think that when it goes out, that the listeners will think that they've just been present and involved in a nice chat, and
relaxed, having a cup of coffee type of thing. Yeah. Instead, and then learning lots along the way. I think that's what's so useful, and so it's so good. I think it's just, and it's, as you say, it's accessible. You can be walking the dog, you can be doing the washing up, you can be doing all the other things that you have to do, especially as we're all at home, and tuning in. That's great. I think it's a fantastic opportunity. So have you any idea about when it'll be launching as yet? Because we're still very new, isn't it? I've dragged you on very early.
We are, because we have, as I say, such an array of guests and people who are doing different things professionally themselves. Another aspect of the podcast for me is about promoting other people's work and helping other people. So, you're kind of thinking, who has a release date coming up? Who's doing this? Who's doing that? So we're still kind of tightening up the schedule, but it'll certainly be within the next week or two. We'll be going live with some of the episodes.
Not at all. That's great. So, and it'll be shared on this page, guys. So anybody who is watching this on the Sam Blake Facebook page, do follow the Sam Blake Facebook page, and you'll definitely get a ping. And you follow James too. It's Mr. James Murphy, isn't it, on Facebook?
Facebook is James Murphy Writer.
James Murphy, writer, and then also James is the director and co-founder of the Northern Irish Festival of Writing as well. So you've got a whole load of different strings to your bow, and that was partially online, wasn't it? Did that go all online this year?
Yeah, we went online, and we were very lucky to partner up with a local TV station as well, who did something like 12 hours of content with us, which was fantastic for the consumers, fantastic for the viewers. By the end of the 12 hours, myself and my co-founder were exhausted.
I'd say, no, it is. TV is very
really brilliant.
It's a great opportunity. So that is all. Is that recorded? If people go to the Northern Irish Festival of Writing Facebook page, the
Festival of Writing Facebook page, and also festivalwriting.org is our website as well. And there'll be links to lots of kind of workshops that have been recorded, and the TV stuff as well.
Yeah, excellent. That's great. And Chloe's just joined us from Nova Scotia, so she'll be waving from the snow. So we're very international here all together. Hi, Chloe. And Coleman's actually in Spain. And Valerie, are you the Valerie? I don't know if Valerie, can't remember if Valerie's in Portsmouth or if she's in, you're on the south coast of England. It's not Portsmouth, somewhere else near there. But anyway, so yeah, we've got a few people tuning in from all over the world. So while we're on the subject of writing, I'm going to do another giveaway. I did this gorgeous giveaway. One of the lines in the dark room, which you will come across as you were listening to the audio, James, is the Hares and Hare's Landing. And the original idea was inspired by some tiles that I saw at a ceramicist studio. In fact, I don't know if I said this the other day, but I actually went to her studio. She's a friend of mine, Mel Chambers, in Cornwall. And I actually went to her studio because she had this kiln, and she thought the kiln would be a great place to get rid of a dead body. So that's what I was doing in the studio originally. Oh, Weymouth. Valerie's in Weymouth. I knew it was the South Coast. Oh, around the corner of it. So that's what I was doing in the studio. But anyway, Mel makes the most beautiful tiles, and we've just done a big giveaway with one of the Hare tiles. But I have another little shard, which I don't know if anybody can see there, which we're just about to do a giveaway with. And it's got Dream written on it. And really, this is to celebrate the fact that the Dark Room has been number one in Eastons for 3 weeks running, which is incredible. And it is, if this is your dream, then this is the shard for you. So we're going to be doing a giveaway with that. I just wanted to show it to people on camera. So there we go. So we have to look forward to the podcast, Life of Crime Writing, coming up soon.
Yep.
Keep an eye on the page. I'm just going to ping in. This is the audio book that James is reading at the moment of The Dark Room. And there's a link to that there for any of you who are interested in audio. So do grab one while you can. It literally came up a little bit late, but it's out now. So thank you very much indeed, James Murphy. We're just over our 15 minutes. I'm trying to keep my timing down. I'm not very good at it, but we're nearly there. And I know you have a meeting to dash off to. So thanks very much indeed.
Brilliant. Thank you.
I'm delighted to have you. So Life of Crime Writing, look out for soon. And it'll be me chatting on the first one, I think, and lots more interesting people to come. So we'll look forward to seeing you all soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.